I've got to say, Split Fiction, I thought this was one of the standout presentations of the entire show. I thought it looked absolutely amazing. And I think the presentational method they chose to showcase the game was also best in class. It wasn't just sort of imagery thrown in your direction. There was actually direction from the developer telling you what to look for in this game, what makes it great. John, thoughts on this one?
Oh my. So yeah, these guys have kind of become known for their unique take on co-op.
Yeah.
Obviously the last game, It Takes Two, was so good that I actually had it on my game of the year list the year it came out. I played through that with my son, and man, that was fun. This basically continues that. Only the idea here is that you're basically controlling like two authors, fiction writers that are like essentially like trapped in their own worlds via
Yeah.
some mechanism, whatever. But the one writer writes science fiction, the other writes fantasy. And it seems like each stage, similar to It Takes Two, is going to offer like new mechanics, new concepts, and it's going to be split between, the sci-fi world and the fantasy world as they kind of work their way through it. And they kind of walk you through that, and that's what I like. It starts with this initial presentation, kind of setting it up, but then Joseph comes on. He's pretty much like, "So here's some examples of how that'll work." Uh, and yeah, sure enough, they do show various like, gameplay bits, and it is very much in the vein of It Takes Two, or before that, A Way Out, where the two players have to work together to get through different challenges. Sometimes it's platforming, there's like flying, there's the Metroid ball thing that they show at one point.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cool stuff in here, and
Yeah.
this
Sausages.
is this is the only trailer I need to see essentially for this game, where it's like, okay, yeah, I'm now sold. I will play this game right away, and probably enjoy it a lot. I mean, there's nothing really tech wise to talk about other than it's cool to have to, they're managing everything that they're doing here, but have to do it in split screen, which is always the challenge. And the way they play around with split screen is always something. So uh, that there is something to be said for that, but it does look pretty visually standard in a way that I would say it still looks like probably Unreal Engine 4 even. Did they say
Really?
otherwise? I mean, it
Hmm.
could be using 5, and that's just, but there's nothing going on here that's like taking advantage of those features, of the big features of UE5, I would say. But it's still an attractive game.
I think attractive is possibly an understatement. I thought it looked fantastic. And I think it's
No,
actually
that
a,
you're right.
a set. Go on, Ed,
It's a
go on.
little harsh. No. Please go ahead. Yeah, I don't
I
mean to
think
take anything away from it in that regard.
yeah, I think my point is that if obviously they've designed a game that's designed to be played in split screen, right? And this is not a, an insignificant undertaking.
No,
The concepts that you've basically got to budget for two independent viewpoints at any given point means that you've got to build your entire visual design around that concept. You've got to build your rendering budgets around that concept. And to do that and to achieve some of the visuals that you're seeing here, the sci-fi world with all the shiny surfaces, I thought in particular looked absolutely fantastic. Some of the set pieces that they're doing, rendering simultaneously on both screens, the amount of effort that had to go into that to make it still look great and to work in split screen. This is like pretty amazing stuff, in my opinion.
absolutely. That's very, very true. Especially since they seem to be going for 60 FPS again, as they did with
Yeah,
the last
which
one.
is
So
amazing. Yeah. And I think, it is just basically testament to the just classy design, right? You could achieve, I think possibly the best example is Ukulele Impossible Layer, a game that was designed for Nintendo Switch, designed to run
mm,
at 60 frames per second on Nintendo Switch, but you can play it on a PlayStation, much more powerful piece of hardware, PlayStation PC, and it still looks great. And that's because of great design right
yep.
at the very beginning and throughout the project. And if that is sort of transferred across to this, with that split screen concept, I mean, what can I say? I just thought this taster was just awesome. And also 3 minutes of actual discussion about the game, the developer laying out their
Yeah.
vision for it. Here's the thing, right? Jeff is kind of presenting the Game Awards as almost like a sort of, and I kind of get the idea, and it's laudable to present games as a medium on par with like motion pictures. I think that's fine. So, trailers are obviously the obvious way to do it. But at the same time, the difference between games and movies is that games are interactive. Games are, what you make of
Right.
them. And what this trailer did was to actually give the audience an insight of what it's actually like to play. You're not just watching it passively. They're giving you an idea of how you're going to interact with the game. I thought that was pretty awesome. Oliver, any
Absolutely.
thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think that this looks phenomenal here. That split screen concept, certainly what they're doing here is quite interesting. And I totally agree with you that this kind of semi-extended gameplay-ish narrative thing really does work to show off these games in a way that is compelling to people and also conveys exactly what those games are about. But these, a game that is a co-op title that's only split screen, it does limit possibly certain things, although there is a level of commitment there and a level of achievement that you probably could not get if you were not so committed to that concept. So for me personally, I think this looks fantastic. I'd have to scrounge through my Rolodex to find someone to play it with. Is my possible concern there.
The Rolodex.
Yeah, maybe my cell phone contacts book, perhaps. Let's make it more contemporary.
Maybe even your console friend list.
Maybe even my friend list. Who knows?
Find them in the Rolodex and hit them up on their pager.
Yeah, but I'm really happy this game exists. I hope it's a really high quality effort there, because I think that this game is really something special there. But just for a limited audience, which is totally fine and totally good. But it is what it is.
What I also enjoyed about it was the fact that they highlighted that it's a split screen game, but it is, obviously playable online, and you don't need to have two people buying the game in order to play it online, which is crucial to, a crucial message to get across to the audience, because it's like, well, are we going to have to buy multiple copies of the game? Obviously not, but the mechanism I think is quite clever in that essentially if you're playing it with your friend, but then your friend wants to play it with another friend, then they do need to buy the game. So it's a very, very clever mechanic, I think.